This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. The Finnish battery company called Donut Lab created a sensation at CES last month when it announced it could print solid-state batteries. Some of its claims include 400 watt-hours per kilogram, a charging time of 0 to 100% in 5 minutes, 100,000 charging cycles, and all at a lower cost than lithium batteries. Needless to say, a lot of battery experts are highly skeptical. But Donut just announced that its batteries have been tested by the highly reputable Technology Research Center VTT in Finland. Donut says it's going to release the test data on Monday morning, and company CEO Marko Lehtomäki says once they do that, the skeptics will not admit that they're wrong, but will shift their argument to say that it cannot be done at an industrial scale. And he says he'll prove them wrong again. So what do you think that lab report is going to show? Tune in Monday because we'll have the results right here. While not as bad as initially feared, the new U.S. tariffs imposed last year are increasing new vehicle prices. However, not equally. A new report from Catalyst IQ found that price increases differ depending on where the vehicle was assembled. The study gathered new vehicle pricing for millions of vehicles from franchise dealer websites and then sorted that data by country of origin. It found over the last 7 months that retail prices rose the fastest on vehicles built in Canada, Japan, Germany, and Mexico. Canada was hit the hardest, with average prices increasing 10% or nearly $4,000. For vehicles made in Japan, prices increased $3,300 on average. Those from Germany were up about $2,800, and Mexican-made vehicles were up more than $1,500 since October. Meanwhile, vehicles built in South Korea saw average prices decline $120, and for vehicles made in the U.S., prices were up slightly, just under $100. GM could apply a tactic that it uses to sell vehicles as a way to also boost sales of its home energy management system. The company says it sold over 246,000 EVs last year with bi-directional charging, but it's considering adding a monthly lease program for its home energy system as a way to make the tech more accessible to customers. GM sells everything from a level 2 home charger for your EV to stationary storage batteries and all the hardware needed to give customers vehicle-to-home capability. Meaning if your power goes out at home, the system can tap into the stationary storage or even the battery in your EV to power your home electronics. But the equipment is not cheap, with prices ranging from about $2,000 for the EV charger up to nearly $27,000 for the entire package with the biggest stationary battery available. GM says it will share more details closer to the launch of the lease program. The UAW just scored a major victory. Workers at Volkswagen's plant in Chattanooga, Tennessee, overwhelmingly approved the first labor contract between the union and the automaker. The UAW says 96% of workers that voted agreed to ratify the deal. The 4-year contract includes a 20% wage increase, a 20% reduction in health care costs, a $6,550 ratification bonus, $2,250 in annual bonuses, plus long-term job security provisions. We think this is a huge deal for the UAW since it's the first time it's organized a foreign-owned car plant in the South.
At CSP, we work with OEM engineers across the country on their journeys to lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly vehicles. Learn more at thecsp.com.
Gen AI can be scary, but it can also be amazingly helpful. For example, the giant chemical company Celanese is using an AI agent that it calls Camille to monitor what automotive engineers are searching for on its website. Then Camille makes suggestions where to look. Maybe an automotive engineer wants to know what kind of plastic to use for a roof rack, or is looking for an alternative to a competitor's material. Camille will direct them to the info that they need. Celanese has tens of thousands of SKUs and polymer formulations, which could take a week to wade through, but Camille does it in minutes. Celanese says it shaved off 3 months of manpower time for handling documents in just the last year. Next up, Camille is being trained to make suggestions on molding issues, complex material choices, and answering technical questions. All this can help automakers and suppliers get things done faster. So, why did they name it Camille? Because the company was founded in 1918 by a guy named Camille Dreyfus. And we've got a link to Camille in the transcript if you want to try it out. Racing fans know this next story all too well. Decades ago, a racetrack gets built out in the boondocks, but over time, houses are built up all around it, and then the neighbors start to complain about all the noise. So 13 U.S. states have introduced legislation to help protect long-standing racetracks from nuisance-based lawsuits. They're calling it the Right to Race Act. Iowa and North Carolina have already enacted bills to protect these kinds of tracks, and there's pending legislation in 11 other states. A humanoid robot that we saw about 9 months ago at an automation trade show called Automate is being put to work by Toyota. The robot's name is Digit and was developed by a company out of the U.S. called Agility Robotics. It uses perception systems and AI to adapt to the environment around it and is designed to take on repetitive tasks. At Toyota, Digit will be loading and unloading bins at the automaker's plant in Canada that makes the RAV4. While it's only a small number of robots, 7 will be working in the facility. Toyota had confidence expanding after an initial test of 3 robots last year. And as we've pointed out, Hyundai has seen a huge boost from all its robot activity this year, pushing the company's valuation past General Motors. Okay, let's go over the results of our latest poll. We wanted to know what advice you would give to automakers now that the Trump administration is easing up on MPG requirements and CO2 rules. Around 2/3 of you said that automakers shouldn't back off of reducing emissions and improving MPGs. 16% said companies should take advantage of the changes, and 20% said that automakers should try and balance the two options. And here's some of what you had to say. Kit Gerhardt said, "The anti-environment regime will be gone one day, so the car companies should continue to concentrate on making clean, more efficient vehicles while letting the gas hogs pay the bills. It probably makes sense to take advantage of the current situations in ways that it's cheap to do, as with Stella making a few more expensive Hellcat Durangos. That can help pay the bills for other things." Mike says, "The rest of the world won't care about the U.S. relaxing standards. Stop improving and get KO'd when the Chinese cars enter the U.S. market." Irvin Wright says, "I truly dislike the mountain of regulations that we are forced to live by and believe the government should stay out of our lives as much as possible. That said, however, higher MPG and lower emissions is good for everyone except maybe the oil companies. So the auto manufacturers should stick with the advances made so far and keep their vehicles as clean as possible." KN Bangles says, "Automakers compete on fuel efficiency because that's what consumers want. So isn't MPG regulations redundant?" Thanks for all your comments and feedback, and a quick reminder for our YouTube and Patreon members. John and I will be doing another live Q&A on Monday the 23rd at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So start sending in your questions now. But that's it for today's show. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. CSP, the composites solution partner. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And thanks to the following YouTube and Patreon members.
Knowing that a little rain won't slow down your day. That's what really matters. Bridgestone Turanza Quiet Track tires. Confident control in wet conditions.
Developing today's vehicles, issues can happen in an instant. What good is knowing your problems without the data to solve them? Meet Wireless Neovi Cloud, your secure off-the-shelf solution, empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With Wireless Neovi Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless Neovi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
Wards is the industry leader for news, data, and analysis. That's why companies across the globe subscribe to our premium service, maybe even your own. Log in for subscriber access now. Check your company's intranet for details and rely on wardsauto.com to keep you informed.